The picture
Well, look at this.
Yeah,
Don Evans, Bill Daley's campaign counterpart. He's the campaign chairman for Texas Governor Bush, coming out to have a statement of reaction.
He's about to mount the stage. He has his prepared remarks, and we should point out that this story has pretty much completely buried the small fact that the First Lady of the United States was elected to the United States Senate tonight in the state of New York. Many of us thought that would be almost as big a story. After this election,
nothing is as big.
Maybe a footnote.
Not only she, one other woman elected to the United States Senate, Maria Cantwell, for a total of 11, and then with Mrs.
Carnahan.
Michigan.
Carnahan, there will be 12 women in the United States Senate, which is a record.
Well.
Don Evans, a longtime close friend of George W. Bush.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you all very much. Governor Bush and Secretary Cheney asked me to thank you for all your terrific support and hard work. We hope and believe we have elected the next President of the United States. The latest vote count in the state of Florida shows Governor Bush winning that state by more than 1,200 votes. They're still counting, and I'm confident when it's all said and done, we will prevail. Thank you again for all your hard work and all of your efforts, and we look forward to a great celebration. God bless.
Well, that was short and sweet.
And very indicative of this cliff-hanging atmosphere over this U.S. presidential race at this moment.
You know, we should note that in 1960, when Richard Nixon came out, he gave a non-concession speech, which proved actually to be quite wise, given the closeness. He came out and he said, if the returns continue as they have been, I'm paraphrasing, it appears that President Kennedy will be elected and I will be defeated. And he was right. I mean, at the time, there was a sense of maybe that wasn't the most gracious thing to do, and as the votes came rolling in from the West, Kennedy's lead evaporated. So here we have, again, a non-concession, non-victory. Bernie.
Candy Crowley in Austin.
Well, Bernie, that pretty much emptied this square. They are moving out in droves now. They were only down to about a sixth of what they were before as the evening went on. We had our first mass exodus when Judy said, oh, we may know about Florida in about an hour and 45 minutes, and it was sort of downhill from there. So
sorry about that, Governor Bush.
They're now leaving, having heard from Chairman Don Evans. At this point, there is very little they can do without a concession, without the final results in Florida. You heard from Don Evans that they fully believe, at the way they're looking at it, that they will prevail in Florida and therefore prevail in the presidency. But we remain in limbo here. And what can they do but go to bed and see what happens tomorrow morning?
John King in Nashville, Tennessee. Whom do you have?
Well, Bernie, I have a prominent Gore supporter who works in the movie business. Rob Reiner standing by here in Nashville. Among the last to leave here, many left because of the cold rain. Some seem afraid to leave. They think maybe something else might happen tonight, if that is at all possible. Let me ask Rob Reiner, you're a prominent Democrat, a supporter, but you work in the movie business. Could you sell a script like this?
No. You write this and they throw you out of the office. They say, you know, this is ridiculous. I mean, this is one of these truth is stranger than fiction things. You can't write something like this. Nobody would believe it.
Now, why are you here? You have a comfortable life. You could be home watching this on television.
Well, you know, I'm quite attracted to you, John, and that's why I'm here. You know, it's getting a little late. We're getting punchy. But let's face it, this is one of the strangest nights in the history of American politics. We had two moments tonight where the media basically said Dewey wins. We've had two of those moments tonight, so anything can happen. Even an important relationship between you and me could happen. Anything can happen tonight, John. That's how wild this night is.
I hate to disappoint you, but I'm going to rule that out.
Okay.
And throw it back to the studio.
And we especially love your straight face, too, John.
You know, I think that somehow that was absolutely in keeping with the way this night may be developing.
Exactly.
What else could happen?
I had posited the landing of a spacecraft. I think we've gone one better with Mr. Reiner tonight.
Wait a minute,
Let's,
I think I see something landing there by the state capitol.
Let's update again because of the time differences around this planet. If you're just joining us, CNN's continuing live coverage of election year 2000 can tell you what is happening in the United States presidential race. It is very, very close, and one state will actually decide the outcome of this, Florida, with its 25 electoral votes. Originally, it looked like Vice President Al Gore had lost to Texas Governor George Bush. We were standing by awaiting a concession statement. Then word came that because of the counting of the ballots, the Gore campaign decided, wait a minute, this thing is too close. And then we had a spokesman from, Don Edwards, in fact, the campaign chairman from Texas Governor George Bush, who just came out just a short while ago, and I like this phrasing. He had a qualifier in there. He said, quote, "We hope and believe we've elected the next president of the United States." He referred to the current count showing Governor Bush leading in Florida by about 1,200 votes. Well, that is where it stands. It appears as if there's going to be a recount of those Florida ballots. They're still having to tabulate absentee ballots. In other words, the battle to win the White House is not over in the United States. There is not a clearly defined 43rd president.
Bernie, I've just been handed a statement by a gentleman named Bob Butterworth speaking. He's Florida Attorney General, or speaking as the state chair of Florida for Al Gore, and I'm quoting, "Whenever an election in the state of Florida is within 0.5%, there is an automatic recount. As of right now, we do not even know how close this race is because there are still a few thousand votes that have not been counted." And I'm continuing to quote, "I understand they are in Palm Beach County, Broward County, and a couple of smaller counties. And no matter what the outcome, there will be an automatic recount. I would caution both candidates not to make any definitive statements right now because it is too close, maybe within a couple of hundred votes at the most. This may very well be, and probably will be, the closest election ever in the state of Florida at a statewide level, and it impacts the presidency of the United States," end quote. Again, this is Bob Butterworth. He is both the Gore State Chair and the Attorney General.
And it's that statement and that conclusion which he relayed to Bill Daley, Vice President Gore's campaign manager, according to John King, and that started this whole process, and that's why we're still here reporting to you.
Well, then when the clock started turning backwards after having been moved forwards.
And it means that Hal Bruno's reporting earlier was indeed right on the money. There are a few thousand votes out. Broward County, Hal Bruno has told us, is Gore country. Palm Beach is a little different. Palm Beach is one of the wealthier communities in the United States, and we might expect that it would be Bush country.
Well, and he mentioned, the Florida official, Mr. Cass, mentioned Hillsborough, which is near Tampa, St. Petersburg. I don't remember which, but I know it's one of those
and some
counties.
overseas ballots.
In other words, nobody, what we now have is further definitive words on how undefinitive the vote in Florida is.
Yes.
Basically, he's saying we don't know who won, and we won't know until there's a recount.
And it sounds like we won't know at this morning juncture. It's now 4:35 or so Eastern time in the morning on Wednesday, November the 8th, and presumably it'll be later in the day on Wednesday before we have a sense of what's going on.
And this is handled by state authorities. That Attorney General of Florida is the Gore campaign chairman. Of course, the governor is George Bush's brother. But the federal government doesn't really have any role in counting and reporting ballots, even though this is a federal race. The election procedures are handled by the states.
And notwithstanding all the uncertainty about this fascinating story as it's unfolded, it's been worth every effort by all the women and men here at CNN and around the United States to report this story to you. It's not over. It simply is not over.
And we can't tell you how many people have been involved. We're not wrapping up here by any means, or maybe we are. We don't know.
No, it's a thought I wanted to impart before I forgot it.
Well, when I mentioned a minute ago, Candy Crowley has been standing out there in a blustery day, and then the rain, hard rain tonight in Austin. We've had John King and all of his co-workers, and we have many more folks there than you will see on camera. They're all operating under very tough circumstances. We're going to show you once again the latest raw vote totals as we have them.
Look at that.
From the state of Florida. This says with 100% of the precincts reporting, it's a tie, 49% to 49%, 2,902, 733 to 2,902, 509. What is that? 100 and how many votes?
224 votes separate these two candidates. All right? 5.8 million votes cast. Let me say that again. 224 votes at this juncture with a reported 100% reporting separate George Bush from Al Gore and separate both these men from the presidency of the United States.
That's right.
I don't know how overstatement would possibly work in a race like this, but friends,
I think I've met some of those 200 people.
This is a state that both candidates have targeted all along. It is a state, well, since early summer, you'd have to say. They both were in there 12, 13, 14 times. The Bush campaign and the Republican National Committee together put, I believe, $12 or $13 million in.
Look at that.
And here is Ralph Nader, 96,000 votes, 2%. The question is, Bernie, Jeff, Bill, does the Ralph Nader vote, would it make a difference? And I think you have to say,
absolutely. The Pat Buchanan vote would make a difference. The Hagelin vote would make a difference. That's over 2,000
But it's a democracy, and every one of those people had a right to be on the ballot if they did the prerequisites and so forth. We're not saying they don't have a right to be there.
Let me add to our electoral porridge here and observe that still we have not been able to call Oregon or Wisconsin. Oregon with 7 electoral votes, Wisconsin with 11. On top of this,
and the last time we checked in with the national popular vote, the margin that separated George Bush from Al Gore was about 25,000 votes. In fact, here it is.
This is the national popular vote. Again, very close. 96% of the precincts reporting Al Gore on top. Al Gore on top. 47,123,818. I'm saying this out loud because we can hardly believe how close this is. George W. Bush, 47,063,000.
Al Gore, we were sort of speculating that as the margin shrunk, this would happen. Al Gore, let's just put this out front as the headline of the minute. Lord knows what'll be next. At this moment, Al Gore is 60,000 popular votes ahead of Governor Bush, who has led in the popular vote all night.
Where did those votes come from? Presumably, they came from, I'm told they came from L.A. County, from California, and primarily L.A. County. That's an area that we would expect Al Gore
strong Democratic
to do well
strain.
in.
But look at that, keep that number up for a second, because, again, you're seeing history in those simple numbers. 94 million votes cast so far, and 60,000 votes separate the two candidates.
With 96% reporting, we should add, there's still 4% of the vote out, which is, several thousand, tens of thousands of votes.
And according to the Constitution of the United States, no matter what the popular vote is, if you don't have the electoral vote margin, you're not elected. And that's what this whole thing is about tonight, this morning.
Whatever.
It is. I think Rob Reiner, before he began getting a little extra friendly with our John King, said it very well. If you wrote a book or a movie script, a political melodrama, the studio head would look at you and say, "This is absolutely ridiculous. You've got so many incredible coincidences on this one night. Nobody would believe it." Let me get this straight. You've got a dead man elected to the Senate, the First Lady elected to the Senate of the United States, a popular vote closer than any in history, and an electoral vote, popular vote count in one state that's going to determine the presidency that comes down to 1,000 votes. Get out of here.
Well, there have been a number of anomalies in this whole campaign. Look, the lead shifted in the polls 5 or 6 times in the last 2 months, and then after a couple of the debates, people said they thought Al Gore did a better job in the debates, and they started voting for George Bush. So this campaign has been very strange.
We're going to look at the Nader and Buchanan vote nationally. Ralph Nader getting 3% of the vote, falling short of the 5%, I believe it was 5% that he needed in order to be eligible for federal monies. 2,546,089 votes. and Pat Buchanan 430,000. John King, 2 million votes to Ralph Nader when there is, what, 60,000, and Al Gore's in the lead.
Well, Judy, you certainly know that if this election goes the other way and Governor Bush wins, now we will have even more of a case for the Democrats to point fingers at Ralph Nader. But that, one of the, what we thought might be the major plot at the beginning of the night, the Nader impact now falling down further on the list here. The crowd leaving here in Nashville, the Gore senior staff back at the hotel, the vice president now been up more than 50 hours, I think approaching 50 hours now.